Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Recently, the fine team at Acebeam got in touch as they'd recently released their E75 range. I think if you're after a solid, and I really do mean solid, EDC flashlight, this could very well be the one that you should add to your list. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so just a quick look first at the unboxing. The box itself gives you some information on here as far as how the LEDs are set up. Got your battery information in there, so it is a 21700 battery, USB Type-C charging, magnetic tail port. There are a couple of different versions of this, so you can, as far as the light temperature is concerned, you can either have the 5000K or the 6500K light. The version that I have is the 5000, and then again you've just got a bit of a summary of all of the parts here. Shall I put this up here? If you want to pause this at any point, you can do now. So yeah, now actually inside, as you'd expect, so here's the flashlight itself. I'm just going to put that there to a second, and then on the underside you get the usual things that you'd expect. So you have a nice little Acebeam lanyard, you have a USB Type-C charging cable, which is great that they include that, and then you've also got some additional O-rings, and I also like the fact that they've added another one of the plugs. I will say that the plug for the USB Type-C charger on here is ridiculous. It's great, put it that way, but just in case it does fall off, because they do fall off from time to time, they do include an additional one here inside the box. So let's put that to one side for a second so that we can have a look around the actual light itself. Now there are a few different colours of this. I went for the green version. It was when they asked if I'd like to test the light out, and I saw them, I was like, yeah, I really like that colour. But yeah, have a look at the website. Obviously, I'll leave the links below so that you can see more from these. But yeah, you'll be able to see the other colours that are available on there as well. Now, as we usually do, we'll have a look at we'll go quickly through some sizes, some measurements, mainly because I know you want to really be able to see how this works in the dark. Okay, so as far as your sizes are concerned, the length of this comes in at 129 millimeters from the end. So on here you have this, I will call this a tactical bezel. I would call it a striking bezel as well. Mainly, I would say for self-defense if needed, rather than if you needed to get into something, if this was being used for law enforcement. You probably could do, but it doesn't have some of those ceramic kind of breakers that you do have on some other more tactical style lights. But yeah, 129 millimeters from end to end. The dimensions on here, hopefully you'll be able to see, so it does taper. The head is the widest part of this, comes in at 35 millimeters, and then does reduce down, I think it's a full length of the barrel on here, although it does taper in ever so slightly here because you have these milled off flat sections, but I guess there's very little difference between them, but I'm guessing this measurement will be for the tail cap here, which comes in at 28 millimeters. Constructed from your aluminium that you tend to get from these lights. It's a very strong alloy of aluminium, which is great, and it has this really nice anodized finish to it, which gives it this color here as well. As far as the weight of this, it will help to have been able to reduce some of the weight of this. Without the battery, it comes in at 145 grams. With the battery, it comes in at 217 grams. We'll have a look at the battery as well in a moment when I take this apart. But lastly, just having a look at the LED array here on the top. Trying to get this so that it doesn't get too much light in there, because it will affect the light balance of the camera. But rather than just using one large LED in there, so you have an array of 4 smaller domed LEDs. The reflector on here is a flat style reflector rather than an orange peel reflector, but having those 4 domed LEDs in there certainly helps this to produce more of a wider spread, I think would probably be the best way to put it. As far as the light is concerned, it does produce a very uniform light. When you have a look at this in the dark, there's definitely a warmer spot in the middle, but with having those 4 LEDs and being able to spread the light more, it certainly spreads the light better, and has up to, on its turbo, 3000 lumens from this, which is great. With your 3000 lumens, that being the turbo, you have different modes on this. So you've got low, you've got 2 medium lights, you've then got high, and then you've got your turbo. There is also a special one on here for low, for a moonlight as well. Again, which we'll have a look at in a second. Now, I did mention so the tail cap on here, so you can unscrew this when you first get this. Obviously, you will need to unscrew this so that you can take the little protector on here to stop it from turning on or it being able to reduce the battery while it's in here. I don't think that this is a proprietary battery, but I will double check this. I probably should have checked again before I brought this out, but it's a 21700 500 milliamp hour battery. The connector in here is magnetized, so it will connect onto this when you pull it out. I won't lie, when I first got this, and I started to unscrew it and I pulled it out, I thought it was connected. I thought there was some sort of special attachment that they'd added onto here, but it's the magnet in the tail cap on this that just connects to it. There is a spring on this, on the tail cap section. When you look into here as well, if you can see this or not, I don't know if the light will get into there, but there is also an additional spring on here. So if you're concerned if this is being used for self-defense or if this is being jolted around, with the 2 springs in, it will help with the inertia of the battery moving around on the inside to keep a constant stream of light. But it is one of the Acebeam ones, but again, I will triple check just to make sure if this is a proprietary one, but I think from the previous Acebeam battery, or at least from the previous Acebeam lights that I've tried, none of those have been proprietary. The tolerances on here, again, this is just something that I always check, but just turning it on for half a turn, the tolerances on there are great, little to no movement. A full turn, it's not even moving. And then there is a rubber washer in there to stop any dust or debris from getting in. Now, as far as dust and water ingression is concerned, on the IPX, or the IP rating for this, this is IP68. So the 6 is for dust and the 8 is for liquid. So as far as consumer electronics is concerned, IP68 is kind of the top that you can get, which is great. You can submerge this up to, is it 2 meters of water, and you can drop this from a meter and it will continue. I always get it the wrong way around, or you can submerge this up to a meter and you can drop it from 2 meters. Either way, this is a very strong and capable light if you're wanting to use this whilst out and about in the wilds and you're concerned whether it's going to get wet or not. Now, I did mention, so this is powered, or at least this is charged via USB Type-C. I have definitely tested, so I know it's certainly something that people have asked about in the past. Can you still use the light whilst it's being charged? Yes, you definitely can do. But just where the pocket clip is here, so the pocket clip extends up until the kind of the top unit, and then underneath here is where you then have your charging port. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but the charging plug on this is at least 2, maybe 3 millimeters thick. When this seats in here, I'm telling you what, Sonny Jim, this is in there fast. For your IP, oh, I'll just turn it on there for a second. For your IP68 rating on here, you're going to struggle getting water in here. But yes, so not to overgill the lily. So you can also. So I have tested also a few other chargers with this, or a few other cables. Sometimes the plastic around the connection on the cable does limit whether you can put it into here. So the cable that comes in here fits in perfectly. I've tried on 3 or 4 other cables and they also fit in as well. So I probably wouldn't concern yourself with that. The pocket clip on here is a no, it's not a reversible style pocket clip. You certainly can't move it so that it's this end, but it will. You can pass something through this way, so that if you wanted to maybe pass this on the brim of a cap, you can do, or if you're passing this into a pocket, you can also pass the clip through that way to give you as much kind of options as you need to. There are some heat sinks here close to the head unit, which is where the on and off button is, and then there's some really nice jimping down the barrel of the light itself, just to give you an extra little bit of grip. I will say this could have been a little bit more aggressive. It's just a thing. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. It's never slipped out of my hand. In fact, it fits in the hand really nicely. But what you'll tend to find with a lot of these anodized lights is, remember those the iPhones when they have the anodized backs to them, they're very quite slippy in your hand. It's not overly slippy. Again, I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but if they'd have just burrowed down maybe an extra 1/3 of a millimeter, maybe 1/2 a millimeter, it would just give it that extra little bit of a grip. But I'm just going to move on, because as far as, you know, holding it in your hand, it's a great form factor, and you certainly don't struggle. Having the clip on the rear is great, because when you're trying to find this in your dark, you know that if the clip is on the back here, then this is where the light switch is going to be on the front of it. It's just it's great that it's there. It's all used by this one button. There isn't a tail button on here, it's just this one button here on the front. The UI is a tried and tested UI that's used by a lot of different manufacturers. So single press on, single press off will take you through your normal modes. Now, as mentioned, so your normal modes on here, you have a low mode, which is 30 lumens. You have a medium mode, or at least they say so. There's medium mode 1, medium mode 2, and then high. Medium mode 1 is 150 lumens, medium mode 2 is 450 lumens, high is 1000 lumens. There is a step down on high. It will go from 1000 down to 150, but when it's on, so you then do a long press. So let's just check where we are at the moment. So we're on low at this moment in time. This is your 30 lumens. Long press will then take you up to medium 1, which is 150. Press it again will then take you up to medium 2, 450. Press it again will then take you up to high at your 1000 lumens. Now, the two special modes on here, you do have a moonlight mode, which is your 1 lumen. Now, when it's off like this, if you do a long press whilst off, this will then put you into your moonlight mode. It's quite tricky to see here on the light, mainly because of how much light from the sun is passing into here. But I can definitely tell you. Actually, you can see more of the reflection from. That's actually the reflection from the sun. If I put it close to there, you can see that. But that is your 1 lumen. The other special mode on here is, actually, let's take that off high. When it's turned on, you can do a double press, and that will put you into your turbo mode. Your turbo mode is your 3000 lumens. Now, there are 2 step downs for your 3000 lumens. After a minute and 40 seconds, it will then step down to 1000 lumens, and then after an hour, it will then, it's 1 minute on 3000 lumens, 1 hour and 40 minutes on 1000 lumens, and then for another hour after that, you'll get 150 lumens. On its high setting, with that 1000 lumens, you're gonna get over an hour. It's an hour and 45 minutes. For a 21700 battery, it's a great 1000 lumen light. If you're then wanting to use it to give yourself the maximum output of 3000 lumens, being able to get a minute out of that, it'll then drop down to 1000 lumens. It's a great option for getting as much light as what I probably should have said out as possible whilst out in the dark. Now, let's stop talking about this more and let's see how this performs in the dark. Okay, now we're down at the fishing lake and we'll go through some of the settings on here. So you can, as I mentioned, you can do a long press. This puts you into the moonlight mode. It's quite a low mode, you know what to expect from a moonlight mode, but if you're in a pinch, you're in a house, maybe you don't want to wake somebody up, or you're really trying to conserve your battery life, then it's exactly what the moonlight mode is there for. But you can also then, when it's on, turn it off, turn it on again. Let's just make sure, medium, high. So here we are on the low mode. So for this, opposite the lake here, the trees on the far side over there. I'm pointing with my hand, but obviously you can't see my hand because it's dark. They're about, say, 25 meters away, but here, looking at the jetty on this little part of the fishing lake, being able to see the path that goes round, does a very good job. I can easily see, I don't know, 7 or 8 meters in front of me. I tend to use these lower modes more than I do any other mode, mainly because, I don't know, I just do. But walking the dogs at night, I can see 3 or 4 meters in front of me, and you know, it's fine. I can see exactly what I need to do. Then with a long press, so we've got 2 mids on this. So this is mid 1. Now you can see a lot further. We can see at least 10 meters. We can now see there's a little ornamental waterfall there that you can probably hear. But the first tree that we have here, just on the opposite side of this part of the lake, is maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10 meters away. It's a lot easier to see now. Moving over to the far side, you can now just see, if I point my finger, you can now just start to see the lights over there. Now, as far as, let's move back a second, as far as a warm spot is concerned, so you can see there is a bit of a warm spot in there, but because really we're working with, rather than just one LED, there's a few LEDs in there. You can see it's not as pronounced. It really is a floodlight. But what I've started to do is, if I just, so that's forward, 45 degrees to the left, back, 45 degrees to the right and back. As far as the skirt around the spill is concerned, not particularly pronounced, but again, I really don't think that it needs to be pronounced with a floodlight like this. So yeah, so that's the medium or mid 1. We can then do another long press, then up to mid 2. So let's go back here again. So being able to see this ornamental little waterfall there is really a lot easier. The light on the far side, the tree on the far side here, you can start to see some detail in it now. There's a little bird box there, and then getting onto the far side, those trees are now a lot easier to be able to see. Back onto the little fishing pond, the detail around here, it's a very nice light. Did I mention the colours on this? So you get the 500k and then you get the 600 and the 6500k. So this is the 500k version, which, you know, it's nice. I quite like it. So that's your mid 2, and then with another long press, you then go up to high. Here you've got those 1000 lumens. It's so much easier to be able to see that tree now. The little ornamental waterfall over there is so much easier. In fact, you can now start to see the trees that are in the distance through here. They go back about 30, maybe 40 meters, a lot easier to see. And then I swoop it back round here, and being able to see those trees, certainly have no issue with any of those trees now. There's a little kind of thing in the middle that I've put a bird on. I don't know what type of bird it is, it's a plastic bird. But anyway, looking up, you know, so much easier to look up into the canopy. Oh, there's a little bat again. But yeah, so as I say, so the quality of the light that comes out, very impressed, very clear, very crisp. Hardly any kind of colour or aberrations around the side of the light. Generally what you tend to expect from Acebeam. Now, whether it's turned off or turned on, you can do a double click. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. You can do a double click, which bumps you up to the turbo mode. Now, with this one, I'm just going to hold it up higher above the camera, but you can really see into the distance. Now, a lot of those trees, as I mentioned, about 30-40 meters away, incredibly easy to see. The canopy up here is even brighter, and the lights on the trees on the far side. Now you can start to see more detail in here. There's a bird box on that tree. Maybe I'll try and see if I can zoom in. I don't want to fall in. On there you can see the bird there, and yeah, it's great. I think for the amount that you get from it on this turbo mode, and also the time that you get as well, you tend to get a lot more with this turbo than you do with some other lights. And then you can triple press. So let's do it again. Here is your strobe mode. You know, as far as strobe modes go, it's not a light, or it's not a feature that I use a lot. But yeah, there you go. So let's go back again. So we've got our moonlight, we've got our low. I'm going to move this up. So there we've got mid 1, mid 2, high, and then there's your turbo. Now, one thing that I will say is, I don't necessarily think that Acebeam have needed to reinvent the wheel with this light. It sounds like I'm going to say something negative now, but hopefully by the time I finish saying this, you'll appreciate what I mean. I don't think they've done anything that is groundbreaking or remarkably different with this light. That's where you're starting to think, well, he's going to say something really crappy about this light now. But I think sometimes doing the fundamentals right is often the best thing that you could possibly do. It's great to have one of these all singing, all dancing. It's got an LED display on it. It does this, it does that. It'll bath your kids at the weekend if you're not in the house. That might be a bit weird. But there's a lot of lights that are doing these amazing things that it's just this new buzzword that a light's got, and you're like, I need that in my life because it now does this. Having a light that does the bare minimum, again, that really sounds bad because it's not just doing the bare minimum, but what it is doing is it's taking the fundamentals and doing them exceptionally well. I think that was the point that I'm trying to make with this. This sounds like it's going to be negative, but it's not. I do mean this as a positive. I think what Acebeam have done that a lot of other flashlight companies have done as well is just gone, right, okay, what does a light need to do? Well, one, it needs to illuminate things, but two, it needs to be well constructed, which this is. It needs to have a very simple interface, which this has, and it just needs to fit perfectly into your hand, your pocket, your EDC, your everyday life. And what this does is it does those fundamentals very well. I hope that makes sense. I kind of, when I get onto this waffly end bit, I just want you to understand a little bit kind of around the reasonings, or kind of that idea of why you should carry a light like this over maybe other lights. This is an amazing foundation light, and what I mean by foundation is it's got those kind of, it's the foundation on what you can build, and having a good and strong foundation is often better than having some skyrise that's got these amazing apartments and glass buildings and glass this, and you know, it does all the singing and dancing stuff. Sometimes having that strong base and that strong foundation is what should be appreciated more than the bells and whistles that other stuff gets. I'll probably stop the waffle now, because I don't know whether I'm digging myself a hole because I'm going in the wrong direction, whether I should record this whole bit again to make more sense. I'm probably going to keep it in anyway. I think this is a great light. I think if you're after a solid foundation for a light, the Acebeam E75 is possibly the light for you. Now, I'd like to say thank you to Acebeam, although I think at this point they've probably just watched those last 2 minutes and gone, Jesus, we're not going to send that knobhead or wazzock a light again. So yes, I'd like to thank Acebeam for sending this my way. Awesome team, really great to work with and yeah, to chat to. So yes, I will leave their links below so that you can see more from them and where you can pick up one of these lights. I'll also leave some of my social media links as well so that you can see me here on Moorlander EDC and also my sister channel Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander and stay EDC.
Hello.
Sometimes I get on, I probably should script these more, but I'm terrible. Reading out loud is one of my weaknesses and kryptonite, and a finger in the ear. Anyway, but hopefully that last bit made sense. It's a good light, and it's a good light to be able to, I was just going to say it's a good light to be able to see in the dark. That was the most, I think that's the most idiotic thing that I've said on this channel, mainly because spotlights are great in the dark, but what I will say is, very nice. Oh, a little fish that's just moved in the lake now for a second. I say lake, more of a pond, but you know what I mean. Oh, they're all jumping tonight. Another one over there. Any more for any more? No? We all good? Sweet. Let's leave it at that. Yeah, you... I wish it was easier to kick yourself in the balls. I don't want, I mean, there's very few times that I've wanted to punch myself in the face, but sometimes there's been a few times that I've just been like, what a knob. If only I could kick myself in the knob just to stop myself from being a knob. That sounded really weird. I worry about myself sometimes. But luckily I'm still on the medication. Venlafaxine, anyone on venlafaxine? Venlafaxine, anyone? Anyway, where were we? We were closing for the day. Yes. Right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the bloopers. Yeah, love you lots. See you soon. Ciao. That was going to be a salute, but ended up being a waft, and I've just scratched my eye. So, yeah. See you later. No, you can go now, honestly. Bye.